In today's video, I'm going to show you a super easy way to mix skin shadow colors for anime characters, and we're going to go through this demo together to see how we can use it in the painting. So what color do we need? It's super easy. We just need to mix skin colors, which I have a lot here because I want to show you guys a few options. And we're going to mix it with purple or blue. Purple is the easiest way in my opinion, so we're going to do the purple first, and then we're going to try a few different blues. All right, so I got a new piece of paper, and let's try the Dioxazine Purple first. Let's first see what it looks like on paper by itself. And I'm going to rinse my brush and grab some skin color. So this is the skin color I have. It is what I used to paint this demo painting. It is a typical anime girl skin color, peachy, vibrant, smooth, and very clean. Now I'm going to mix the two together to make the skin shadow color. Well, I assume that you have watched my previous video of how to mix a skin tone. If you haven't, I'm going to put a card in the screen, and I'm going to put a link in the description. So check it out. So here I'm mixing the skin color with purple. Now this is the color I'm actually looking for, but this looks a little bit too light. The reason is the purple is not strong enough, so I need to add a little bit more purple, and I need to add a little bit more skin tone. If I only add purple and not enough skin tone, the purple is gonna overpower the skin tone, and I'm gonna get a really purple looking color like so. And if I put this on top of the skin color, it's gonna look very dull. So the key point here is to match the strength of the two colors. So if I'm using a stronger purple, let me grab a bit more purple here and put it down here. I need to use a stronger skin tone. So I'm mixing up a stronger skin tone here. And I'm adding it to the purple. Now the color is a little bit stronger. And this is the color I'm looking for. It has a reddish tone in there. I'm trying to make it even stronger. Now I have too much of the skin tone, too much orange. When this happens, you just need to add more purple. So you basically constantly mixing up the two until you get the right strength. Now this is too purple, and I need to add a little bit more skin tone. Yep. So I would say this one and this one and this one are the skin shadows you're looking for, from lighter skin shadows to darker skin shadows. Now this is with Dioxazine Purple, and let's try some other purple. Next, let's try a light violet color from this Paul Rubens palette. This is a redder purple, so it will look different than the previous one. So on paper by itself, it looks a little bit like the quinacridone purple. This is violet light. Mixing with the skin tone. Oops, that's too strong. Skin tone won't be this orange. So that's the skin tone. And let's try to mix it. This one looks really vibrant because it has some pink and reddish tone in there. Let me try to make it stronger. If you want your shadow color to be more vibrant, once you apply it, it doesn't make the character look dull. It's, you know, in those digital paintings, usually the character has a really fleshy kind of skin tone. It looks very pink and it looks very healthy. looks very vibrant. The key point is to have enough red in there. Yeah, now this one is stronger, but it doesn't have enough purple. Okay, so after adding a little bit more purple in here, become a color like this. Need to add a little bit more skin tone. Otherwise it looks too purple. All right, so this will be a nice skin shadow color, and this one as well. This one's a little bit too red, and this one is a bit too purple. So now these are the two shades of purple. One is more on the bluer side, and one is on the redder side. So as I mentioned, the other way is to use blue. Using blue is also very simple, because to make skin shadow colors, well, you will see in my other video, but just to quickly go through it here, to make skin colors, it is basically mixing together any sort of yellow and red together to get an orange. So basically, skin color is a very light orange. You just need to add a lot of water to it to dilute it, and the white of the paper will show through, and it will be a really nice anime character skin color. So I'm just mixing up whatever yellow and red here, and now I get a skin color. And then let's recap what we did before. So we're mixing the skin color and purple, and then we get a skin shadow color. And we all know purple is a mix of red and blue. So to mix the shadow color, we can actually just mix the skin color with blue, but we need to add a little bit more red. So let's try it out. Here I'm grabbing some ultramarine blue, put it on the palette, and then I'm going to mix it with skin color. However, you can see it turns into a grayish color. This is because blue and orange is on the opposite side of the color wheel, and they're canceling out each other. So now it turned gray and became like this. This is definitely not what we are looking for. So how do we save this? We need to add more red. Oops, I brought too much red. Now I need more yellow. Basically, I'm adding a stronger skin color in here with more red. Now, this is a lot better, but still, it's a little bit different than this skin shadow color we're looking for. So let's mix in more blue and mix in more skin color and add the red. Now this is really close to this one. And how we get to here is basically adding blue to skin color, and we realize the skin color is too light. We need to strengthen the skin color. The key point here is to match the strength of the blue and the skin tone. After you match the strength of the two, we are still missing red, so we're adding some red to it to adjust it to this color. So basically what we want to do is to use blue and a strong skin color, and we need to add a little bit extra red to it. And when you mix these three together, you get a shadow color. So this is the first method, skin tone plus purple, and this is the second method, blue plus skin tone plus red. You probably noticed the red here and here is a little bit different. This one is cooler on the pink side, and this one is on the warmer side. It really doesn't matter, as I showed in the skin color mixing video, like any sort of red and yellow can mix together to create a really nice skin tone. Skin tone doesn't have any standard. It can be on the cooler side and it can be on the warmer side. And it can also have some impurity in there, which is what happens when you mix a cooler yellow with a warmer red or a warmer yellow with a cooler red. It doesn't really matter. It's all in the same skin tone range. So just try it out. Try different combinations of yellow and red and purple and blue. The basics method is really simple. Just experiment and get the vibrancy right, get the strength of the color matched, and you will get a really nice shadow color. So let's now try it on the demo painting. This demo painting is pretty much finished. The only thing missing is the skin shadows, which is why it's looking kind of dull right now. I'm just going to use whatever color I mixed before, because they're all very, very similar. I'm just going to mix it up. And to make it really simple, usually I do 2 shades of shadow color, a lighter one and a darker one. So I'm going to use the lighter one to describe the form and the darker one to indicate the casted shadow. To illustrate the difference between the two, let's say the sun comes over from this side. I have a highlight here and I have skin color here. I would use the lighter shadow here to describe the side that is away from the light. So there's no light directly shining on the skin, but it is away from the light, so it's darker. And I'm going to use the darker shadow to indicate the casted shadow. So the casted shadow is darker than the shadow side. It's too wet, but I hope you get the idea and you will see it in the painting. So starting from the face, the shadow created by her bands is a cast shadow. So I'm going to use the darker shadow color for that. Also, since she has a lighter, light gray hair, having some shadow will really make her hair pop. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to see where her hair is. So the shadow also serves as a division between her skin on her face and also her hair. It looks so much more three-dimensional after I add the shadow color. Her finger is also creating a shadow on her face. It's about here. I'm gonna connect these shadow areas. Also, she has the other finger here. The sun comes from this side. Because there's nothing casting a shadow on there, I'm going to use a lighter shadow color. A little bit on her chin just to describe the form. Her neck, usually under the chin, is the really dark shadow because it's under the head. So I'm going to use the darker color all the way to here. Smooth out the shadow on this side. This shoulder, there's a little bit of shadow. I'm trying to describe the form, so I'm going to use the lighter shadow color. Adding a little bit of shadow here for the collarbone. Using the lighter shadow. For her chest, I'm going to use a darker shadow for the casted shadow. And for this one, I'm going to use the lighter shadow to describe the form. Same thing for here, using the lighter shadow to describe the form. For her armpit, I'm going to use a darker shadow for the deeper part. And I'm going to use a lighter shadow as it goes outside of the completely blocked area. So there is some casted shadow here created by the arm. So I'm going to use a darker shadow. And as I go out of that area, I'm going to smooth it out so it becomes a lighter shadow. For the bottom of her arm, of course, this is going to be a lighter shadow. Over here, there's a shadow created by the forearm. This needs to be a darker shadow. Lighter shadow for the forearm, the side that's away from the sun. And for her hand, these 2 fingers are creating the cast shadow here, so I'm using the darker color. And also by the thumb, also in between the fingers, That's where usually the shadow is darker. Here I'm using the lighter shadow to describe the form. And I'm using some lighter shadows to describe the form of the fingers. Now I'm just adding some details for anatomical structures, darkening some shadows here and there. All right, that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to add some shadows created by the hair. And also I'm adding the shadows created by the bikini. A little bit. Put on a little bit of a nail polish. All right, so I think all the skin is done, and that's how I add shadows. So the final touch is her bikini. I'm going to make it blue. I think it goes really well with her gray hair. All right, so this is the finished painting. It looks so much better than before adding any shadows. The character looks so much more alive and three-dimensional. And now you know the two easy methods to mix shadow colors using either purple or blue. All you need to do is just to practice, and over time you will get way more familiar with what color to add and how much red to add, how much blue to add to make it work with your figure. Especially the practice on the figure, on an actual skin tone, finishing up the painting is really important and really helpful. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment below, and I'll see you next time.